Hey Jim, thank you so much for coming into our studio today. And it's been this interview has been long in the waiting, and I've been so excited to interview with you. So.
We just started and it already feels long.
Absolutely. For those of you at home that don't know, this is Jim Lujan, and he is responsible for about 50 short films. 2 features, and his latest feature is Revengeance with Bill Plympton. And it's amazing to watch you grow as a filmmaker. And let me just throw some questions at you. You cool with that?
Yes.
All right. Cool. Where did you grow up?
I grew up on the hard streets of West Covina, California.
Gangsta.
WC.
Nice.
And it was a very suburban, good, fun childhood. I grew up right next to the Thrifty Mart. I'm sure you're all aware of Thrifty Mart.
Only place we shop.
The Big T. And I attended a high school.
Just a high school?
A high school named Edgewood.
Okay.
And it was a very mixed, ethnically mixed high school, which was a very valuable thing in my life. I'm very glad got to see all types of different cultures so that I could set out to make fun of everybody and destroy everyone's culture. So.
Nice. Where did you go to animation school?
I went to animation school at the University of Nowhere because I am completely untrained and I am self-taught, I should say. And if you watch my animation, you'll see right away he's self-taught.
Did they really study your SATs for the school?
I was trying to find an animation school that had a football team.
Okay, all right.
But the only one I could find had a tabletop electric football team.
Nice.
And I did join.
That's good.
And I crushed it, literally.
And do you still go back and have like reunions of your good college days?
Yes.
Sit there and reminisce.
Yes, our coach was this big.
yeah, that's good. That's
ridiculous.
Good. Very good.
So, but to get back to your serious answer, I am completely self-taught, just observed storytelling.
Yep.
I've always been into film and had animators that I really admired. Bill Plympton, Ralph Bakshi, Gendy Taratovsky. There's a bunch of them, and I've always loved cartoons and animation, and it was a natural fit for me.
You thought, how hard can this be? Come on,
these guys can
seriously.
do it. Yeah,
it's cartoons. Anyone can draw a cartoon.
Yeah,
right.
Why not?
Absolutely. Good. When did you make your first animated short?
4:30 p.m. 1995.
Were you on the throne or were you on the couch?
I was on the couch in South Pasadena, in our bungalow that we lived in, on Fremont Avenue. You need more details than that?
I want to know, was there your butt impressions on the couch still there?
Oh, you should see my butt impression. It's really good. It's very accurate. It was around 1995, and it was an animatic cartoon, no movement, which I know my current stuff has very little movement, but zero movement.
It was even less.
It was even less, if you can believe it.
It was photographed.
Yes.
It was a slideshow.
I did all the voices. I did all the music. The music was recorded on a 4-track cassette Tascam. I used a VHS video machine to audio and video dub the shots.
Nice.
And edit
Did
it.
you really? Oh my gosh.
And then I took that tape straight to my local public access television. It was called Buenavision. And I gave it to them and I said, hey, can I have a TV show? I literally said, can I have a TV show? Because everyone it's public. Nice. I'm the public. Absolutely. This is access. Absolutely. I want public access, and they did. I said,
public access.
Yeah, the guy there, his name was Richard Estrada, and Richard's a great name, and he said, yeah. He watched the tape and he laughed and he said, yeah. And he said, do you have more of these? And I said, yes. And I didn't. I had to run home and make more cartoons.
So you're teaching us to lie at first.
Lying.
Okay, good.
Don't educate yourself.
Oh my God.
Lie and
Bear the
and
body
make fun
deep.
of all cultures is
Oh my
probably
God.
the 3 lessons that the kids out there should take from this.
We probably should edit sometime here.
That'd probably be a
Okay.
good idea.
Did you always want to work in film?
Yes, I think as even as a kid, well, live action film as a kid, I thought, oh, I want to make movies. I want to make, you know, Star Wars Part 4 at the time, right?
Was there going to be a lot of Jar Jar in
Yes,
there?
I created Jar Jar as a child.
Yeah.
But I soon found, the more that I looked into live action at the time, I found how complicated it was because of getting actors and getting people to show up and things like that. And plus, at the time, I was really into music, and I still am. I love creating music, listening to music, writing music. And I wanted to do something that could incorporate that, and I was a huge fan of cartooning. Sergio Aragonés, you know, John Byrne, a lot of my favorite artists, and so animation was the perfect vehicle to do film, music, artwork, everything, and the voices came later. They're still happening now, but they came later. I did the voices out of necessity because I was my only crew, and I had to make all these cartoons for the live action show.
Did you ever consider firing your crew?
Oh, we fight with the crew all the time.
Because they were lazy and
Yes.
drunk? Did they show up lazy and drunk?
Yes, and I've been accused of sleeping with the crew as well, so you have to be very careful these days. So
Yes, the union frowns on that, that's
Yes.
true. How do you raise capital for your films?
the only film that I've raised capital for is Revengeance with Bill Plympton, and we did a Kickstarter for that. And it was so exciting. We have a guy, Adam Rakoff, ran the Kickstarter for us. Very professional dude. And I was so worried because Bill's had a couple of successful Kickstarters without me. And then when time came for our Kickstarter, I was worried, am I going to be the guy to ruin Bill Plympton's perfect Kickstarter record? And as the clock ticked and we got closer and closer, I was sweating it. I was like, oh man, we haven't reached the goal yet. We're getting close. And Adam would always calm me down, and then I just was like, I hate this crowdfunding thing. And then when we passed the goal with a couple of days to go, I was like immediate confidence. I was like, of course we meet our goal. And now it's all extra. Let's go. Let's book a vacation now. And so we passed the goal, and I was very happy about that, very thrilled. So now we're in the deliverable stage. So they're shipping out stuff as we speak. And if you're a Kickstarter contributor, thank you so much. We really appreciate it. The film literally could not have been made without you. We'll get you your stuff, right? He also works with Matthew Modine. They have a production company together.
Recently, we worked on a 54 meters with Matthew.
Did you really?
Yeah,
He's a producer on Revengeance, but he's so nice, and he is actually a producer, a credited producer on the front of the film.
Cool.
And as is Adam.
He seems like a really
super
stand-up guy.
cool guy. Yeah.
If you had $1,000 for marketing your film, what would you use it for?
I'd probably buy new clothes because I need new clothes. I would probably get a haircut.
You're actually not wearing pants right now, are you?
I would probably use the rest of it to buy candy.
Good business sense.
Don't give me $1,000. You don't want to do that. I'm so not used to having a budget, because when you're a one-man crew, you're your own budget right there. I mean, at least I've always been. There's low budget and there's no budget, and my films have always been no budget.
Put away the $1,000 and the $1 million we're going to give this man. So, all right, sorry.
Wait, rewind that.
Yeah,
Erase that.
That's right. How do you like to distribute your films? Festivals, DVDs, internet, networks, cable, Comic-Con?
There was a time when DVD was king. Let me take you back to that time. And we're all wearing acid wash jeans.
Nice.
And New Kids on the Block was the top selling act.
Yeah.
But DVD is kind of dying as we speak. I loved putting out DVDs because it was a physical commodity that you could put artwork in, and it was exciting because it was like putting out a new album.
Yeah.
And it was a fun thing. But no longer. DVD, I don't sell DVDs anymore. However, online is kind of the way to go now. There's all kinds of platforms like Vimeo and such, and so I think online, you know, will be the way to go. Plus, if you order now, we'll throw in this brand new CD of Revengeance, the soundtrack to the movie. Yes, kid.
How do I get one?
It's
How do
real.
I get one?
It's real. Yeah, so we're selling. Oh, I created a soundtrack for Revengeance, and the digital version will be available soon. So,
What inspired the film Deranged?
Deranged. That is the greatest question I've ever been asked in my life, because no one's ever asked me that before. Deranged is the third film that I did. It's a 15-minute animatic film. I don't even know if it's online anymore. It was at one point. I had it online, but that film happened because the public access TV show thing, I had to fill space, so I needed 15 minutes to fill. So I created a 15-minute animatic cartoon with Ray. And it also, I think at the time, Pulp Fiction might have just come out or had been out a little while, and I wanted to do a story that had 3 different stories in it at the same time.
They copied you, basically.
They copied me.
Okay.
So that's okay. Let them have that one.
Yeah, it was a bad idea.
Yeah. So nobody will remember Pulp Fiction.
Yeah, exactly.
However,
With
Deranged, the kids are all about it. So that taught me early on that I could make a 15-minute cartoon. And you know, I joke a lot about that my animation's, you know, crappy or whatever. That's fine. But my drawings are always pretty good. My colors are good. And then, not to mention, the whole framing of the story is always pretty good. That's where I start from. I start from story and then throw everything else on top.
Okay.
Yeah, and I always, when I create stuff, I always imagine the audience watching it and me being in the room watching it with them.
Yeah.
And us all being naked. No. But I imagine them watching the film, and I don't want to squirm in my seat, you know. So when I create stuff, I kind of want to create it to hold their attention and to be satisfying to them, and that's kind of my motivation when I'm creating something. So I don't just create only for myself.
Okay.
I always, and that was from the beginning, because like I said, immediately, like when I started creating animation, it was like the next week it was on TV. I mean, it was that quick. I had done something and I could do this. And I took it right over to them, and they're like, yeah, you have a public access TV show. And that show was on for like a year or 2.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, and I got some feedback and emails back then. It was the early days of that.
This was before the cocaine addiction.
Before the cocaine addiction. It's not an addiction, it's a hobby.
I mean, a bucket a day is
Keep
really not a
saying
bad
that.
thing.
It's a hobby.
Exactly. I mean, you know, Charlie Sheen's got nothing on you. So
That's right.
it's all good. How do you pick your titles for your films?
That's one of the funnest parts of the creative process for me. Usually the titles will happen first. Like, for example, Deranged. I always love that word, deranged. So I said, I'll make a movie name called Deranged. Revengeance.
Yeah.
Revengeance. I thought, what a funny word, like a macho sounding, like Revengeance.
Yeah.
It's not a real word, really. Then I found out afterwards there's a Metal Gear Solid Revengeance.
Is there really?
Yeah, because if you Google it, they come up. But
they copied you as well.
Yeah. Exactly, yeah.
This is the documentary of
some
Hollywood
money.
and major people copied.
I think someone owes me some money somewhere, but it's fun. And to me, a title is super important.
Sure.
It's the thing that attracts, you know, attention. A lot of times, the first thing you see. That's why I never understood why. I guess there's an element of Hollywood that likes to name stuff real basic. Like they'll have a movie called The Magician, you know, or you know, The Teacher, like something real simple like that. I guess that's a thing, but for me, that's not a thing.
What about that amazing classic film that just came out, The Emojis? I mean, that is Hollywood.
The Emojis.
That is Hollywood
Yes,
at its peak.
I know.
Please, dear God, Hollywood, make more brilliant pieces.
I don't know how many Oscars it'll win, but
Oh,
I know that, you know, Daniel Day-Lewis did a great job in that.
seriously,
Yeah,
just
he
really
became an emoji.
OMG.
See, that's
The
an emoji
epitome.
right
Yeah,
there.
yeah. Oh, sure.
LOL.
Yeah,
Is that an
absolutely.
emoji? I
Yeah,
don't know.
maybe so. Maybe hashtag something.
I'm actually, my nickname is Emoji Simpson.
Emoji Simpsons. Nice, nice, nice. Who is your audience?
Oh, boy.
Do you have an audience? Would you like an audience?
Most of them are dead. But my audience, gosh, I think it's anybody that likes funny stuff. I don't. Okay,
I guess it's gonna be a hard one to find.
My audience, my personal audience for my own stuff, I guess, is the people that can watch my animation and get it. Like, it's kind of choppy, or it's kind of this and that, but I like it. It's kind of like I'm into this story. And
so the 9 old men are probably not going to be watching.
Usually people with really hardcore head injuries.
Good. Probably because they're dead. They probably can't watch your.
Well, eventually we all die.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But people who get the humor. Of
people who get the humor are, I think, are instantly. I'll tell you who my audience is. I'm going to name drop somebody right now. Chris Pernowski from Titmouse.
Oh, nice.
That's my audience. He's my only fan.
Look at the name drop.
But what a fan!
Seriously.
He's a nice guy, great guy too. Very inspirational talking to that guy.
Are you saying that because you owe money, or?
Yes.
Okay, good.
And plus he has a sex tape.
Oh, fair.
But he's like a Yoda of animation to me. He's like, that guy is so wise. He's giving me the best advice. He's just, I'm a big fan of his. Okay. Tell
me about your event, Light Up the Walls.
Holy mackerel. Light Up the Walls was a few years back in Whittier, California. And I don't think it was my projector. I think I had a projector and it played DVDs, and I got a bunch of my animator friends together and we created this event at night where we lit up the walls outside in back of this art gallery. And it was huge. It was on this big white brick wall they had. And we just, it was like movie theater screen size. And we just played a bunch of our cartoons.
The public, or the city didn't have trouble with it, or?
Well, we were in an alley, so they
didn't know.
So they didn't know.
Nice.
But we didn't ask either. So.
Guerrilla style.
Don't ask, don't tell. That's
so
animation.
Let's review what we've learned so far.
Lie. Don't ask for permits. Make fun of everyone, and
don't go to school and educate yourself. And
if you get $1,000, buy clothes and candy.
Good. These are important lessons, kids. Yes. Make sure you do. Tell me how you use music to inspire your films.
Again, like the titles, music is sometimes the driving force that even a film gets created, in my case, created from. I like to create music, and I also listen to music. And I might get inspired by something I create or write and think, oh, this would be a great, like for example, I have a film called Freak Daddy. And I wanted to do something that had that style, like funk music in it, like with DJs and stuff. So I would just experiment and make some music, and then you kind of hit something, and just got to jump on it, and it kind of creates a whole momentum thing. So for me, music is like a fuel of that. It's like the foundation of my films, because my animation is quite crappy. But
you heard it here, folks.
But my drawings are good and the stories are great. So.
That's it. What was the weirdest inspiration for an animation you did?
Oh boy. My weirdest and greatest. I have a character. I did a cartoon called En Fuego, and it's got multiple stories within this little 8-minute frame. And one of the stories is this character called the Bathroom Buddy. And his thing is, he likes to, in public restrooms, kind of lean over the barrier and make friends with people. And he'll be like, "Hi, how are you?" You know, and in that kind of a voice. My friend Neeson plays him. Very creepy. But the inspiration for that was just imagination. Have you ever been in a men's restroom stall? I know you have, because that's where I met you. But
we shook hands, actually.
Yes, feet. We shook foot. But that's like your most vulnerable moment and most uncomfortable moment, and if you saw a character peering over the edge, that would be the worst I can imagine. So that inspiration of uncomfortableness, of awkwardness, of weirdness, that inspired me to create that character. So check out En Fuego. It's worth it.
So, all kidding aside, what advice would you give upcoming filmmakers?
I would definitely tell anybody that's a potential animator or that's been thinking about doing animation is don't let the structure of animation stop you from trying to tell your story. In other words, if your criteria is I can't tell my story because it needs to be on a Disney level, then tell something else. Tell a lesser story and just make it happen. That's my advice, is just absolutely make your visions exist. It doesn't, if they're not perfect, that's okay. But you gotta get them out there, because you can always retell it later, or you can always improve upon them later. Don't be a person that has 1,000 ideas but nothing to show for it, because that's an easy trap. You can kind of psych yourself out. Or you could be really naive like me and just jump into it and not even worry about it. Just, oh my gosh, I'm animating now. But that would be my advice. It's just I'm trying to not say just do it.
Yeah. Isn't that a logo? Yeah.
Yeah, we'll get
Nike.
sued.
Yeah.
But yeah, make your ideas exist. That would be my advice.
Good.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you, Jim, for everything, for your time, and I cannot wait to see Revengeance on the big screen. And